Search for survivors following Monday's devastating tornado is over. The EF5 twister roared through the U.S. state of Oklahoma. Authorities say everyone has been accounted for, and the death toll still stands at 24. The damages in the town of Moore alone could top $2 billion. Our correspondent Sean Calebs has been on the ground there for the past 2 days. He joins us live with the latest.
Mike, thanks very much. And certainly trying to get information in a situation like this, always extremely difficult. You can understand why authorities were at first concerned that the number of victims could go up somewhat significantly. But as you mentioned, the search and rescue, the search for victims, it has all been called off. They say everyone has been accounted for. You talked about the damage estimate, $2 billion. That is a significant markup from the initial estimate. The initial estimate was $1 billion. Now, there are going to be people here, first responders, people helping the thousands of victims who were punished when the tornado came roaring through here a couple of days ago. And today, the DHS Secretary, Janet Napolitano, was in hand, and she said this is going to be a two-pronged approach. One, let's get the debris out immediately. And second, the more difficult aspect, the long-term effort to restore this area to normalcy.
Recovery is underway. Debris removal is a key thing today. Get in touch with FEMA if you haven't done so already. And we will be here to stay. At some point, the cameras will leave. The national ones will leave first, then the local ones. But on behalf of President Obama and on behalf of FEMA, we will be here to stay.
And behind me, you can just see one of the many debris piles. And just beyond that, you can see Interstate 35. You can see traffic moving very, very slowly. That's because a lot of people are being allowed back in to their neighborhoods for the first time. We had a chance to catch up with a couple who got a glimpse of what used to be their home and also a chance for them to relive some real horrors. When you look out there now, what do you see?
Total chaos. I mean, total devastation.
It is Shane Patterson's first look at what had been his peaceful suburban neighborhood before this.
This is not what I wanted to see.
A frightening funnel cloud that swallowed much of Moore, Oklahoma. Patterson had got a text from his wife as the storm hit that read, "The house is gone at community center."
I was trying to read into the text. I didn't know if she meant she was gone from the house and she was at the community center, or if the house was actually gone. And once I started walking, I realized that she meant the house was gone.
The Pattersons' two boys attended Plaza Towers Elementary, the school that was flattened, where 7 children died. But Sarah Patterson had already picked her children up from school and rushed home as the funnel cloud hit.
I told the kids, I said, get in the hallway and take cover like you did at school.
They were literally right there, underneath the mattress and underneath this wall.
I got in there and pulled a mattress off the bedroom here and put it up against the wall in the hallway and told them to get under it.
It was just enough protection. By now, the entire area was in ruins. When you came out unscathed, what were you thinking?
Thank God we're alive, we're not hurt.
The family is trying to save any possessions they can salvage. Sarah says she still needs to have a difficult discussion with her sons.
I have not told them about the children that didn't make it. I mean, I don't exactly know what to say to them myself. How do you explain to an 8 and a 10-year-old that they're not going to see some of their friends again? And indeed, that is clearly the most agonizing of all of this, to talk to people who go back to their neighborhoods knowing that those people are glad that they're alive, but knowing this community is going to suffer loss that it's going to take some time to recover from. We do know that President Barack Obama is going to come here on Sunday. There was some initial concern, why wasn't he here yet? Clearly, the administration concerned that if they came, they would turn this more into like a circus-like atmosphere, the last thing the first responders need as they try and get this area back. I want to bring in our colleague now, Steve Mort. Steve, you were out today talking to some people back in their homes for the first time. The looks on the faces, looking at the neighborhood, what went through your mind?
It's really pretty amazing. I mean, you talk to these people, and just within maybe a minute or so of them starting to talk, they start to cry. That emotion is just so raw. It's still there. One lady we spoke to, she was going back to her house today. She'd seen it for the first time yesterday. Her daughter had actually gone to the Plaza Tower Elementary School. She'd been picked up just a few moments before the tornado hit, or maybe like an hour or so. And when she took her daughter to see their house just yesterday, that was too much. Her daughter was already talking about her friends and her teachers and that kind of thing, and what they had to go through at the school when she wasn't there. But then to see her childhood home, we all know how important our childhood homes are to us, and to see that was just too much for her daughter, so she had to take her away. It was just kind of too emotional.
We also heard Janet Napolitano talk about getting the debris out. We've seen the giant trucks roll continually loaded with debris. Utility trucks coming in here with utility poles and some electricity coming back up. That's certainly boosting some hearts this evening.
It's pretty astonishing, actually. I was driving around today with our cameraman. We were talking about how, some of these businesses have the lights on already, and in fact, a movie theater just very close to where we are, a few hundred meters away, is planning to open its doors on Friday and start, taking customers again to see the movies. That's amazing, and we see those utility trucks everywhere. We see the cable repair vans everywhere, and all these neighborhoods back here. Those work crews are just out there around the clock trying to get things connected again.
Steve, we heard the mayor today also talk about he wants an ordinance. He wants people protected. This is the second time this community has been hammered in 14 years. He wants mandatory storm shelters in this region. It's difficult, we know, to build a basement in this kind of bedrock. What do you think the initial feel is going to be when you tell someone you have to have something like this? Certainly people want it, but it's not going to be cheap.
Well, it's interesting, and we're intending to focus on this tomorrow and ask some folks, hey, did you have a tornado shelter? And if not, why not? And one of the reasons that we're hearing from folks around here is that it's just very expensive. It's not a wealthy neighborhood. That's the first thing to emphasize. But also, geologically, it's very difficult to do. It's difficult to do on a new construction, let alone a house that's already there. To retrofit a building, you're essentially putting a basement in. That's difficult for starters. But then, when you've got very hard rock underneath, it's difficult to blow a hole in that.
Well, that's going to save lives. Steve, we look forward to that tomorrow. We're going to hear more from you in the next hour. Mike, I want to leave you with one more thought. We've talked about the number of people who passed away, 24, the damage, $2 billion. Consider this. It's beautiful weather here right now. The weather here tomorrow is supposed to be horrible, perhaps even more tornado warnings. The last thing people in this area need as they begin cleaning up is to relive what they went through on Monday, Mike.
Boy, you aren't kidding. Sean Caleb's live for us in Oklahoma City. Thanks so much.